April 13th, 1922, Volume 14, Triple Affirmation of Wanting to Live in the Divine Will. The soul who lives in the Divine Will lives in the womb of the Most Holy Trinity. I was continuing my usual prayers, and my lovable Jesus, surprising me from behind my shoulders, called me by name, telling me, "Luisa, daughter of my will, do you want to live always in my will?" And I, "Yes, O Jesus." And he, "But is it really true that you want to live in my will?" And I, "It is really true, my love, nor would I adapt myself to live from another will." And Jesus again, "Do you say it firmly?" Now, seeing myself confused, almost fearing, I added, "My life, Jesus, you make me fear with these questions. Explain yourself better. I say it firmly, but always helped by you, and in the strength of your will, which involves me completely, in such a way that I could not do without living in your volition." And he, heaving a sigh of relief, repeated, "How happy I am of your triple affirmation. Do not fear. These are nothing but reassurances, reaffirmations, and confirmations, so as to impress in you the triple seal of the will of the three divine persons. You must know that one who lives in my will must rise up high, but so high as to live in the womb of the Most Holy Trinity. Your life and ours must be one. Therefore it is necessary, it is decorous, that you know where you are, and with whom you are, that you conform to whatever we do, and that not by force, but willingly, with love, and with full knowledge, you live in our womb. Now, do you know what our divine life is? We amuse ourselves very much in releasing from us new images of ourselves. We are in continuous act of forming our images, so much so that heaven and earth are filled with our images. Their shadows flow everywhere. The sun is our image, and its light is the shadow of ours, which covers all the earth. The heavens are our image, which extend everywhere and carry the shadow of our own immensity. Man is our image, who carries our power, wisdom, and love within himself. So we do nothing other than continuously produce our images which resemble us. Now one who must live in our will, living in our womb, must form many other copies of ourselves together with us. She must be with us in our work. She must let copies and shadows of us come out of herself, filling the whole earth and heaven. Now, in creating the first man, we formed him with our hands, and breathing over him, we gave him life. Once we made the first, all the others take origin from the first, and are copies of the first. Our power, flowing through all generations, reproduces his copies. Now, since we constitute you firstborn daughter of our will, it is necessary that you live with us in order to form the first copy of the soul who lives in our will, so that as she lives in us, she may receive our attitude, and may learn with our power to operate according to our way. Once we have made of you the first copy of the soul who lives in our will, more copies will come. The road of our will is extremely long. It embraces eternity. And as it seems that one who has navigated the way, much remains to do and to receive from us in order to learn our ways, and to form the first copy of the soul who lives in our will. This is the greatest work we must do. Therefore we must give you much, and it is appropriate to dispose you much, so that you may receive. This is the reason for my repeated questions. It is to dispose you, to enlarge you, and elevate you, in order to accomplish my designs. I care so much about it that I would leave everything aside to reach my purpose. Therefore, be attentive and faithful. April 13th, 1932, Volume 30. The human nature that lets itself be dominated by the divine will. Its field of action and flowery earth. How the divine will possesses the inseparability. I am always in the arms of the divine will, like a child clasped in the arms of the mamma, who holds me so clasped in its arms of light that it does not let me see, hear, and touch anything but the divine will alone. And I thought to myself, oh, if I were free from the prison of my body, my flights would have been more rapid in the Fiat. I would have known even more. I would have done one single act with it. But it seems to me that my human nature makes me interruptions, as if it would place the obstacles, and makes it difficult for me to always run in the divine will. But while I thought this, my divine teacher, Jesus, visiting my little soul, said to me, "Blessed daughter, you must know that one who lives in my divine will has the virtue of keeping ordered the nature of the creature, and instead of being an obstacle, it gives help in order to be able to complete more acts of divine will. Rather, it serves as earth to the flowers, that lends itself to form the beautiful flowerings that almost hide and cover it with the variety of their beauty, to which the sun communicates the variety of the most beautiful colors, and makes them brilliant with its light. If it were not for the earth, the flowers would lack a place in order to form their life, to be able to be born and make their beautiful appearance. And the sun would not have where and to whom to communicate the display of its beautiful colors and of its pure sweetnesses. Such is the human nature for the soul who lives in my divine will. It is as fecund and pure earth that lends itself to giving the field of action, and to letting her form not only the beautiful flowerings, but to make as many suns come out for however many acts as she does. My daughter, it is an enchantment of beauty to see the human nature that lives in my divine will, covered and hidden as under a meadow of flowers, all invested by the most resplendent light. The soul by herself could not have been able to form so many varieties of beauty, while united she finds the little crosses, the necessities of life, the variety of circumstances, now sorrowful, now cheerful, that as seeds serve as sowing in the earth of the human nature, so as to form its flowery field. The soul does not have earth, and could not produce any flowering. On the other hand, united with the body, oh, how many beautiful things it can do! Even more because this human nature was formed by me. I molded it part by part, giving it the most beautiful form. I can say that I did as the divine craftsman, and I placed such mastery there that no one else can reach me. So I loved him. I still see the touch of my creative hands impressed on the human nature. Therefore, it is also mine. It pertains to me. Everything is in the complete accord. Nature, soul, human and divine will. When there is this, that nature lends itself as earth. The human will is in the act of receiving the life of the divine will in her acts. She lets herself be dominated in everything, nor does she know anything else in all her things than my will alone as life, actor, bearer, and conservator of everything. Oh, then everything is holy, in order to perfect her divinize her, and spiritualize her. Therefore, your human nature cannot be an obstacle to the flights in my will. Rather, your volition can be for you an obstacle, in which you must always have the aim of not giving it life. But from your earth there is nothing to fear. If it has received, it gives what it has received. Indeed, it gives even more, and changes the seed into flowers, into plants, and into fruits. And if it has not, it remains in its mute silence, and it remains as sterile earth. So I thanked Jesus for his beautiful lesson, and I felt myself all contented that my human nature could not harm me. Rather, it could help me in making the life of the divine will grow in my soul. And I continued my rounds and flights in its acts. And my sweet Jesus added, "My daughter, my divine will possesses the inseparability from all its acts and effects, as much if it works alone in itself and outside of itself, as if it works in the creature or the creature works in it, or else in order to carry out what my divine will wants. In this way of working, it places of its own, and retains them as its acts and its property, inseparable from it. Now, if the creature lives in my divine will, these acts render themselves common property of the one and the other. If then she makes some exits, she loses her first rights that these acts had been done in our house. And then the substance, the life of the act, the sanctity, the beauty, the prerogatives that are needed in order to be able to form one act of ours, has been put forth by our divine volition. The creature has done nothing other than assist and concur with her will to operate together with ours. But of the substance, she has given us nothing of hers. Therefore, if she keeps living in our volition, she commands together. If she escapes, with justice she touches nothing. But if she re-enters, she reacquires the right of commander. But there is a great difference between the one who lives in my divine will and works together, and one who, not living in it, follows and fulfills in the circumstances what my fiat wants. This one takes in her act my will limited, and as she finishes the act, so it remains. It does not go on any more. And although even these acts are inseparable from it, yet one sees that these acts do not have the continuous operation. Limited, they took my divine will, and limited, they remained. On the other hand, one who lives and works in it, her act acquires the incessant act of continually operating. These will always be agents in my fiat. They will never lose the attitude, that is, the operation of my volition, because it never ceases. Such are the acts of the creature rendered. Therefore I want you always in my fiat, if you want to take it not limited, and as by drop, but as seas, in a way as to remain so filled, that you will not touch or see anything other than my divine will. End of April 13th. Fiat.